I never said I wanted that in my life. You know, you might have wanted that, but don't bring what you want or what you think I should be doing from society standards to me. You know, there's this tweet that I just laugh at day in, day out. Because two people had sex back in the 90s. Now I gotta feed myself and work every day. Like when I was in my 20s, I really thought like my 20s was gonna go a little differently. I thought, you know, it looked no better, so why do I want that? This is your life, and whatever people want to instill in you, you know, some just, you know, I can understand people instilling some things in you, but you have to take it with a grain of salt and figure out what it is that you actually want, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be paying your bills, you're the one who's going to be living in the shoes that you're living in, and only you know what you truly want to do. And that can be really hard depending on the situation that you're in, but you just have to find that line of motivation or that light and just be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go, this is what I'm gonna do. It might be hard, it might be weird, but we just gonna do it in the best of all the best that I can, cause you know what I'm saying, that's tough. Another mother effing video, y'all. Listen, first and foremost, take a sip. Alright, if you had a long week, take a sip. If you've, you know, done nothing, take a sip. If you want to take a sip because you want to take a sip, you can do that, because, you know, what does that vegan lady on TikTok say? Because that's your business. That's your business. We're going to be talking about some heavy topics, and it's about living in your 20s, okay? You know what I'm saying? Whoop, whoop. You know, all the people who don't turn 21 had a good old time. I hope y'all had a great time, because y'all, you know, living in your 20s, it could be a lot. I think so, you know what I'm saying? Like in the movies, they make it seem like all great, dandy, and all that other jazz. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, your 20s is all about, you know, waking up, going to school, going to work, coming home, eating, keeping up with the gym, keeping up with your friends, maintaining some type of relationship with somebody or God or both, all while trying to maintain your mental health and think like, am I going crazy? Am I going crazy? I might be going crazy, but I can't really tell or talk about it sometimes, because, you know, it's just so much. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm in my 20s, I'm living through it. You know, is it ghetto? I mean, I'm gonna say it's ghetto, but, you know, I'm sure the other side might be better, but, you know, from looking at other people in their 30s and 40s, it's like, well, looking like we're gonna be struggling until we cross over to the other side. That's just my opinion. Some people, they think their 30s is gonna be different. I just think it's just gonna be different with a different struggle, you know? That's it. Maybe with just a little bit more money, hopefully, because I've seen some people. Let's breathe. Your 20s. Let's just see. I'm 25. I've been 5 years into my 20s, and I've gone through a roller coaster of just different emotions. I'm thinking like, when is it going to end? And in my opinion, I don't think it's going to end. I think some things I've learned where, you know, life, you got to take it day by day, because, you know, like Nipsey also say, it's a marathon. You know what I'm saying? You run into the end to beat the race, and you ain't really beating the race. The race continues. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just on a whole other level of crazy. I think the biggest difference in your 20s is learning that, like, we all have different opinions. I feel as though when you get older, you start to realize, you know, everyone has a different way of growing up. And I feel like when you realize that, you sense that, like, how can you better just, you know, communicate what is going on between you, your friends, and your coworkers? Because I don't know, I'm different from some people, but also I'm the type of person that I can get along with people, but I know what I don't like and I'm not gonna mess with. So when I see that, I'm like, all right, let me just step back. You know, I think it goes without saying, like, you know, maybe people shouldn't be so judgmental in the aspect of everything in your 20s, because you have all this society pressure where you look at the society pressure and you're like, first of all, who said I wanted that in my life? You know what I'm saying? I never said I wanted that in my life. You know, you might have wanted that, but don't bring what you want or what you think I should be doing from society standards to me. You know, there's this tweet that I just laugh at day in, day out. Because two people had sex back in the 90s. Now I gotta feed myself and work every day. Like when I was in my 20s, I really thought like my 20s was gonna go a little differently. I thought, you know, and then reality hit and said, no, you're gonna go to college. And I said, wow, college? College wasn't in my viewpoint. It wasn't at all. I thought I was gonna go somewhere else. And here I am with this 9-to-5 job, and every day I wake up and I'm just like, wow, whew, let me breathe. This is a lot right now. Now when it comes to society pressures, it's like, can we just, you know, people have all society pressure. It's what job are you doing? Are you married? Are you in a relationship? When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? And it seems like, or when are you gonna buy a house? And it's like, why do those things need a timestamp? I feel like you know, certain cultures and people, they always want to influence what you should be doing. Like when it comes to a job, and especially when you start to get older and people want to know what you're doing. You notice it when you're young with people's parents, and they're like, oh, what do you want to go to school for? And that's where the judgment starts right then and there, because, you know, usually it's the whole, you know, something in the medical field, something with being an accountant and things like that. And if you're the communications major like I was, well, you just gonna get a side eye like, I don't know about that. Granted, I'm working, so who's laughing now, who's side-eyeing who, I don't know. Maybe sometimes we shouldn't be judging people based off of that. But anyways, that's where it starts from. And it also starts from when you're younger, because it's always like, oh, what college are you going to? And whatever college you're going to, you might get like a, oh wow, you know, a prestigious college or community college. It really doesn't matter, because I've seen it where I didn't go to prestigious college, but I'm working with some people who went to some big name colleges, and it's like, well, you spent all that money and I'm where you're at. Maybe you got there a little easier. I'm not really sure. Don't know. Maybe connects. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes it doesn't. But hey, society pressures, especially when it comes to jobs, because people are always judging people based off the job that you have, and it's like, does that matter? As long as somebody's working and hopefully they're getting towards what they need to be, that should matter. And then there's the whole aspect of marriage, and it's like, what? Some of y'all be rushing for marriage, and it's like, what y'all rushing for? That's a whole other ball game. You know, you're no longer single. You're not in a relationship. You're now married. You have to deal with somebody else and have to form difference of opinions into how you guys can coexist with each other. You know. So when someone's like, you're 25, and people ask you, oh, so you're not married yet? It's like, what's the rush? Or babies. What's a rush for babies? You know how much babies cost? Babies cost a lot of money, and there's no going back with a baby like it is with a marriage. You know what I'm saying? Those are two different things. I just feel like if you have people in your ear about what you should be doing, you know, if it's your parents, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends, sometimes you just gotta ignore the hell out of them and just be like, well, I don't know what you got going on in your life. It's like, I don't know what you got going on in your life, but I seen it and it looked no better, so why do I want that? And one thing about being in your 20s is that people love the society pressures, and then it's the whole judgment. Like, people spend so much time judging what other people have in their pockets, and it's like, why are you in their business? Let's look at what you got and see if it's any better, because it might not be. You can flash around, you could flash all the designer, all the bags, who you're in a relationship with. It still don't mean much. Like, how about we take a step back and let people live life and make decisions, and not just be like, oh, I would never do that. Because the minute you start saying I would never do something, oh, you find yourself in a situation that you know you find yourself in a worse situation than you thought you would end up in. Alright, because I've seen it, and I do my best not to say anything and be like, you know what, hey, we all go through something, because we all got a path in our 20s. You know what I'm saying? Because being in 20s, you broke as hell. You know what I'm saying? You get this 9-to-5 job, and you thinking you're going to pay bills, and it's like, well, what? Where's the rest of the money? Where did it go? It all depleted. It went to bills. Of course, you have to pay the necessities, but it's like, I want to buy some sneakers. I want to go out to eat. It's a want, not a need, but, you know, I like to do those things. Okay, work, you know, I live within my means. I don't step out of my means. I know some people, they like to step out, and I be like, you try to keep up with the Joneses, and I'm looking at you like, well, wait, you ain't got no money. Matter of fact, you ain't even got a job, so why are you even spending the money that you don't have? Now you're just putting yourself in a hole, and now you're putting yourself in a hole, and now you put me in a hole, because you gonna look at me and be like, can you help me out? I like to stay in the vicinity of my area of what I know I can do, and if I can't do it, I'm not gonna do it. You know, like for instance, do you think going out every weekend is beneficial for you if you have no money? No. You might like to do that. I don't think you necessarily have to do that all the time, but hey, we all do it. I go out, well, before the pandemic, but I went out a lot, but I made sure I stayed within my means, like, you know, and sometimes I wouldn't, and I would have to pay the cost, and, you know, I paid the cost, and I said, damn, I'm kind of stuck, and I have to figure it out. But, you know, one thing about staying within your means is also realizing it with, like, maybe some of your, like, your friends and stuff, where some of them try to keep up with the Joneses, and it's like, why? Especially if you're not working, right? That's one thing I can't stand with being in our 20s, is that, like, people who aren't realizing, like, maybe they have to, whatever your means is, stay within your means. And if you're not staying within your means, figure that out. Sometimes we have to budget. Do like the 50-30-20. The 50-30-20 is the, 50% of your paycheck will go towards the bills, 30% will go towards, your savings, and 20% will go to, like, what you want to splurge on. Or you can mix it up. And also it depends on how you're living. If you're single, it might work. If you're married or if you have a baby, listen, you gotta do your 50-30-20 or your 60-30-30 or 60-20-30. You know what I'm saying? You figure out how you want to break it up with your finance. And sometimes you have to sit down with your friends and be like, the ones who ain't got no jobs and always trying to go somewhere, and you're just like, well, how are you trying to do all of this and you ain't got no money? Sometimes you gotta leave those friends right where they at and be like, all right, I see you when I see you. With friendships and relationships, I don't know if you're 20s, because I know people are like in a rush to go somewhere. I don't know where you're going, but people seem to be in a rush when it comes to relationships, and it's like, slow down. What you in a rush for? Marriage really ain't all that great. It's still a pedestal. Like I feel like if you look towards marriage as your happiness, well, you gonna fail. That I can put it that way. You just gonna fail, because now you're looking for someone to fill your hole that you haven't filled yourself, and now you're like, damn, I'm stuck. And I really sitting here like, and if you look for a baby to fill your happiness, well, the baby gonna fill you. And then until you realize when you get older, that baby grows up to be its own person, and they leave you, and now you stuck. You can kind of win and see through people that, like, yeah, that's not where I want to be, and I think that's okay. Too, within your 20s, if you have the ability to see someone who's lived through their 20s or their early 20s or mid 20s, and you see their errors and their ways, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Like, I think there's some people that I've seen where it's like, I've seen things, I'm just like, you know what, that's not for me. So I'm gonna use that as an example and be like, I ain't gonna do that. But then again, life is life, and I might find myself in a situation that I didn't think I was gonna be in. But yeah, friendships, they come and go. Realize that, like, who you're friends with today may not be your friends. Who you're friends with in high school may not be your friends later in life. Everybody has like a different path. People have different things they want to do, and that's okay. And sometimes you have to realize, all your friends are busy. So as long as I feel like there shouldn't be no complaints within friends unless there's beef. Like, whenever I see people in their 20s, even when I was like in like high school, you don't talk as much anymore. And this is because life has like gone on, but that love is still there. Then that's what it should be. And when you catch up, and it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? But I've definitely seen instances where it's like people aren't friends anymore, and all of a sudden there's beef. It's like, what you beefing with somebody? You're not busy. You must not be busy. And if I always feel like if someone you meet always falling off with friends, depending on what it is, because some people are different. I feel like it's a red flag for me. I'm always looking at you like, what do you have going on to be at this point losing people? In some instances, I get it. Because some people out here, they be fake as hell. And I be like, damn. That's some wild shit. Because some people, they really just be doing too much. That I can understand. It's like, okay to let people go. Like, I let people go all the time because, as you get older, you don't need all that toxic stuff. You don't need people in your life who are constantly just in your life just causing problems and issues. Like, you be looking at some of the people in your life and you just be like, God damn, I find you annoying. And those people are the ones you gotta, kick to the curb. And at this age, as we're also getting older, learn to put your friends in categories. Like, it's a struggle to see when people consider party friends as like friends, as like they're real friends. Like, sometimes you have to differentiate those people. Sometimes you only know people through partying, and that's it. Those aren't your real friends. You know them because of a good time. When you start to mix those, and you realize, oh, wait a minute, these aren't real friends. They're not real friends in the sense of where we get to know each other on a deeper level, or on a level where it's like, yeah, you really my people. Because sometimes it's okay to have party friends and have your other friends and other friends. And you have your chill friends, your broke friends, and you have the friends who do too much, and the friends who, when you really need them to pull up, they all pull up. So differentiate that. Put your friends. Like, it's okay for friends to not talk all the time. Like, I'm not that friend that talks to people all the time, although I could do a better job. I could do a better job. But I still be, well, when you call me up, we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I see there's a difference within the friendship or whatever relationship that's going on, then I think you have to address that with yourself and be like, well, what is it? And sometimes there's really nothing. It's just that you guys are just going about life. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Or maybe there's something there and you have to address it. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I spent money that I ain't never gonna see again. I wish I could see it because I spent I spent a lot. You sure did. Yeah, I sure did. I wish I could get it back. Do you really? Well, listen, I had a good time with all the money I spent, but if I saved it, maybe I could have bought me a house or something. But then again, when I think about it, it's like, that's when you think about the money you spent and you feel like, wow, what was I doing with my life? But then it's like, you know, you were in your 20s, you know what I'm saying? You was living. I sure enough lived, y'all. I lived a lot. Oh, it's so good, the memories. I ain't never gonna take it back, you know? Let's not reminisce because then I'm gonna miss the money that I spent. But you know, I somewhat got it together, you know? I started doing the 50, 30, 20, you know? It only goes so far because sometimes I'm like, you know what, damn, I gotta spend extra money. If you don't have anything saved in your 20s, start saving something. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have different finance struggles, but hey, $10 a month or a week, or let's do $25, you know what I mean? Or like I do, I have a separate checking account, savings account where I just put some money in there, you know what I'm saying? Hey, sometimes I put 25, sometimes I put a little more, or sometimes I just make sure a direct deposit just goes directly into that account so I don't see it, so I don't be like, oh, I'm gonna spend this money, you know what I mean? Because boy, I wish I would, I could. I don't know why we're all in a rush. Like, the minute you start putting a timestamp is the minute you start to like really look at yourself and be like, wow, am I worth it? Like, is there anything on, like, am I worth it? Like, am I really making it in life? And sometimes you are making it in life. You know, you gotta count the small things in life as like you have to really like see the small things that you're doing as like milestones and be like, not milestones, the small steps that you're doing in life, and be like, celebrate those. Celebrate the small things. Because if you keep looking for these big old things that you haven't gotten yet, you're always looking for what's better to come. You're always going to be looking at something like, oh wow, this hasn't happened in my life, but you have to remember something small happened. Like for me, I always have to remind myself, hey, these small steps happen in my life. You gotta enjoy that because there's somebody else who would wish that would happen. So you gotta live in the moment. That's what I try to do. I do that my best. I think some people try to tell me I live too much in the moment, but you know, I do think ahead. I just like to think about it other days, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got time for it sometimes. Like, I'm trying to be right here because I'm here for a good time, not a long time. That's my motto. Because when you think about it, 40 is not that old, 60 is not that old, 80, but it's not that old relatively how life is, you know? You're here for a short time, people. Make it do what it do. And the minute you start to worry about like comparing yourself, and the minute you start comparing yourself to other people, whoa, boy, you gonna put yourself in a big old hole. Like, damn, I really ain't shit. But sometimes you are the shit. You just have to realize you can't compare your road to someone else's road. Where your road is, you're gonna have cracks, and where their road is, they're gonna have cracks, and we're just going separate. We're all on our road to where we need to go. And some might make it quicker, some might make it this way. But that doesn't mean you're lesser than a person. You're still an individual who's going through life. And if anybody wants to, you know, try to demean you, think of you as less than, well, you know what? Sometimes you might have to pull up on them and let them know, like, shut the fuck up. Because you could, the minute you try to hold your title for a job, or you having kids, you having married, something will happen, and then it's gonna look at you and be like, wow, look at you. You held yourself to a pedestal because of this title. And working in your career, I don't know. Working in my career, I realized, you know, well, actually, I realized this before, that people are just miserable in general, whether they're working in a career or not. But I see it more and more. You know, people don't want to work. People want money. That's really it. We all want money, and sometimes we want money quicker. Not saying money solves everything, but let's face it, it solves the stress of paying your bills. You know what I mean? Causes, that's what it helps with, money. But other than that, we know it's all inner, but we want money, alright? So leave me alone. It'll come. But like, when you work with like people, you start to realize, yeah, people really are not happy, whether it's because they don't like their job, or was it what it was that they wanted in their heart to do, or they're just not happy with life because of you just have to work, and it's tiring. Like, I look at these big people in their big ages and their positions, and like, stressful and sad, and I'm just like, oh, wow. So it doesn't end, huh? Great. Thank you for that. You know, some days I wake up and I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is cool, fun. And some days I wake up and I'm just like, I don't know how people wake up every day and they say they feel like they're not working. I'm definitely working, and I'm definitely like, I gotta do this for how long? 50 years? Oh wow, 50 years. I need to come into some money because I don't know if I can keep this up. Like, it's hard. Like, you start to see people, and it's like they're not doing what they want to do. And I think that aspect, I think it tells people more and more to do things that's in line with what they want to do. And if you're stuck and you think like, oh, life is over, I was like that when I first got to college. I was in my 20s. I was like, damn, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I was working this stupid ass dead end security job, and I was like, oh hell no. But although I knew something was eventually gonna happen, but at that moment I was like, something need to happen quick because this ain't it. And I was just miserable. And now I'm less miserable because, you know, I'm working and doing something that I want to do. But, you know, there's just the other aspects of what I'm like, it's not it, but it's it. You just gotta work those out. But yeah. And I think those people who like hold like what they do, like they hold their title of their job as like the greatest thing in the world. And in some aspect, you know, okay, great, cool, but like who are you besides when you're at work? Because those people, Lord, they get on my nerves. I'd be like, wow, so you're talking about work. Sometimes I don't want to talk about work. Let's talk about something else besides work. Because you know what I'm saying? You had a week at work and you like, oh, you meet people. And they're like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I do something. I do this and this. And then they want to try to get into it. And you're like, you're looking at them like, I don't want to talk about it. But then there's some people you meet and they love talking about it. I'll be like, all right, listen, I don't want to talk about work. Okay, work. Let's talk about another day. Another day. You know? Not right now. Let's talk about how stressful it is. We can talk about that. Because that shit's stressful. This is your life. And whatever people want to instill in you, you know, some just, you know, I can understand people instilling some things in you, but you have to take it with a grain of salt and figure out what it is that you actually want, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be paying your bills. You're the one who's going to be living in the shoes that you're living in, and only you know what you truly want to do. And that can be really hard depending on the situation that you're in, but you just have to find that line of motivation or that light and just be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go, this is what I'm gonna do. It might be hard, it might be weird, but we just gonna do it in the best of all the best that I can, cause you know what I'm saying, that's tough. Cause this 20 shit, I got 5 more years in it. I'm gonna be hitting 30s, and I don't know. And people like to think that's where it's at. It's looking like it's gonna be something, especially in the climate that we're in. And stop looking at social media, because social media will have you gotta remember, some of these people, I don't know what type of life they're living. And if you're making money, there are certain things that just make sense. You know what I mean? Like buying the Birkin, things like that. If you're making money, by money, I'm talking about money, alright? Not you people who don't make no sense. I'm talking people who are really making money, who won't buy the Birkins, they gonna buy the Birkins and things like that. In the real world, social media really have you fooled. I don't know how people think in this day and age, you think one person is making some form of income, and then depending on 2 people, like I said, it depends on, you know, if y'all want to stick to a code, I guess. But don't be fooled by these people. I mean, like, a burger doesn't make you satisfied. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like when I see things on social media and I see people in real life, I feel like y'all hold things to a pedestal to the point where I don't even think it's that believable, or it's not achievable, because people really are living that life. It's like people live simple lives sometimes, where it's like people are like, oh, I like to be fine and dined every week. You don't like Chinese? You don't like some simple Chinese? You don't like takeout? What's wrong with takeout? You don't like pizza? You like fancy food all the time? I like fancy food, you know, every once in a while, but like, come on. And some of these people, I think they're all cap. Some of these people, they be talking, and I bet you they ain't changed their sheets in months. So let them keep yapping their mouths. Because when you see people in real life and you see people on social media, you see that things don't really coincide. You know what I'm saying? People really are living that life. Some people are, hey, if you want to live in that life, good for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. But other people, look at your reality. Please. Because I know some of y'all is lying. You know, that's living in your 20s in a nutshell, y'all. It's crazy. It's fun. It's fun. Definitely times where when I get older, I'm going to look back and I'm going to die and be like, why did I do that? You know, a lot of drunk nights, a lot of nights, you know, being drunk, going to work the next day, and you just like, you look at it and you're like, oh hell nah, this ain't it. Like, I'm gonna just start clicking, leave me alone. You know, they ain't tell you how tired you're gonna be. I feel like I'm way too young to be tired. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I go to the job, I go to work, I go to these meetings, and sometimes these meetings, they're not making no sense. They be having you at these meetings, and you just like, so what are we talking about? So, this was pointless. Oh, okay. And you dying to stay up. Like, I'd be dying to stay up. Like, I be having to drink coffee. Like, I drink coffee, but I ain't drink coffee the more. When I got into, like, a job, I haven't drank so much coffee like this in my entire life. Like, these people really got me caffeinated. They're like, oh yeah, all you need is a cup of Joe and get it going. I'm like, cup of Joe? This shit making me shit. I be having a whole day, like, ooh, I gotta go. Like, I really be struggling sometimes, especially the waking up part. Gotta wake up extra early just to make sure you up, and you get there, and people are talking to you, and then you be having these nonsense conversations where it's like they ask, but you know you don't care. And it's like, can we just move on? Like, please. My God, well, how's what do you do for the weekend? Nothing. Really? Nothing? Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Leave me alone now. But yeah, guys, that's the end of my video. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for liking. Let me tell you, how is it living in your 20s? What have you learned? Because, you know, I think I've learned a lot. I'm continuing to learn a lot. I think you're going to learn a lot in life. You know, because, like I said, I've had a great time. I've had some times where I'm looking, I'm just like, ooh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I've made some mistakes. Shit, especially in relationships, man. The relationships, you look at these relationships, and sometimes you have to look at yourself and be like, you know what, this ain't it. Like, if I know if it ain't gonna work out, why even bother? As long as you keep it a bug about what you want with this other individual, then hey, that's all that really matters. Because at the end of the day, being in your 20s is like being a teenager, but you can do everything legal. That's what that is. It's very plain and simple and thought out, to be honest with you. And as you continue to grow older in your 20s, you realize two things: that, like, one, these adults really ain't shit. They're all just making it up as they go. And two, you really gotta find the comfort in yourself, because people change, and people will not be the same like you think they are. Well, people change, and some people really ain't shit, and you really just gotta make sure your environment is best for yourself. Because if you don't have an environment for yourself where you can have like a where you could just like be at peace and like think for yourself and think like, if you don't have something where you can have like a moment to yourself, y'all, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Because people out here, I don't know, the adulting world, people got different aspects, and it's like, you know, what works for you works for you. It's gonna work for me, it's gonna work for me, and that's it. And keep it moving and keep it pushing, because you only got one life to live. Alright.